Recently I've been getting some very interesting comments from haters of my channel. They've been accusing me of just being a failure at life and an unemployed loser trying to cope. Now, growing up and maturing has taught me one very important lesson. When people criticize you, don't just instinctively try to fight them and destroy them and own them. I mean, I certainly could do that. But apart from a quick dopamine hit of revenge, you don't really grow as a person when you do that. Instead, the productive, mature thing to do is to legitimately ask yourself if there is merit to the criticisms. And if so, how can you use that to improve yourself? For example, yesterday, someone commented that the captions on my video were getting really annoying because everyone on TikTok is using these same captions now. And as a result, it's gone from cool and captivating to just flat out annoying. I thought about this and realized this person actually had a point. And this is why you don't see any captions on this video. So I actually took the time to reflect and objectively ask myself if I really believe the stuff I'm posting, or if I'm just a failure at life who's coping. I want to make one thing very clear. I'm not one of those weird people who thinks that there are no winners and losers in life, and that everything is subjective, and that you should just play soccer without a ball, because everyone should be a winner in their own way. I just think society's method of determining who's a winner and loser, based purely on your job and how much money you make, is stupid. But am I just coping here? Let's find out. Any game is lost if you let your opponent decide the win condition. This was a very wise comment from one of you out there watching. And I think society's win condition of basing winners and losers purely off how much money someone makes is stupid. But this does mean that we need to clearly define our own win conditions in life. Otherwise, you will cope yourself into insanity. One personal win condition I've always believed in and have preached religiously on this channel is that you should always be healthy and in great physical shape. There's just no excuse for being a fat, out-of-shape slob. And to this day, I've always lived by that. I'm 34 and in the best shape of my life. I'm stronger and more athletic than ever before, even more so than when I was in my 20s. And I actually believe the reason I was able to achieve this is because I never have and never will work a 9 to 5. This is the first hidden benefit of being an unemployed loser. I actually took the time to objectively reflect on this, and I don't think it's coping to say I'd rather live a simple, frugal life overseas while being in great shape and healthy than to be a fat, out-of-shape slob who makes a lot of money. I really don't. The first time I realized this was when I just turned 18 and was being pressured to go to college the way all my friends did. I noticed that as soon as they started college, almost all of them instantly became fat and out of shape. I later learned they actually had a term to describe this, the freshman 15. This meant that it was a common experience to gain 15 pounds your freshman year in college. I decided that I was never going to let myself go down that route. And if it meant that I had to skip out on college, so be it. Trading your health for money is just never worth it. And the sad thing is, my friends who went to college and took the traditional route progressively just got more and more out of shape as they graduated and started working. Even though they might make more money than me, I can't say I'd want to switch places with them. I really can't. I'd 100% rather just be an unemployed loser who lives off this YouTube channel and a frugal existence overseas. Hopefully this also clears up all the misconceptions about the message I'm trying to send. People have also been accusing me of giving bad advice, telling young men to just quit and give up and play video games. No, to be clear, I'm telling young men to give up on bothering with the fucked up, rigged job market and economy, because the juice just isn't worth the squeeze anymore. But I've always said, you should exercise, learn to cook cheap, healthy meals, pursue your dreams, and look towards some alternative lifestyle like homesteading, living in a van, or moving overseas to support yourself. The answer isn't to delude yourself into being a crazy weirdo who plays soccer without a ball and thinks that there are no winners or losers in life. The answer is to set your own win conditions and ignore society's. The answer is to live on your own terms. Because of how awesome Gen Z is, because they've seen how stupid and bullshit the whole system is. I can actually say that for the first time in my 34 years, I'm not a total unemployed loser anymore. This channel has done quite well for how relatively new it is, and I'm pretty grateful for this. But I want to tell you guys a quick campfire story of how life was for me before Gen Z came of age. Back when everyone, including myself, looked at me like an unemployed loser. 10 years ago, I was 24, and like a lot of you, I was feeling incredibly lost in life. The world was a much different place back then. YouTube was just getting started, TikTok didn't even exist, and you didn't have online communities such as this channel where a lot of like-minded people who also see how bullshit society is could discuss and share ideas. It was just me and one other friend who felt this way, and it really felt like I was totally alone and the whole world was looking down on me. But through it all, I learned a lot of very valuable life lessons, because I felt the pain of being looked down on and judged by the shitty society we all live in. I've learned to never look down on other people based on their life circumstances, because you never know what they're dealing with. A common criticism I've seen on my channel is, if you don't want to work, who's going to do all the necessary jobs that keep society running? This is hilariously rich and ironic coming from the very piece of shit society that looks down on the very people it depends on to keep it running. Think about it. Who does society love to look down on, disrespect and spit on? Fast food workers, grocery store workers, trash collectors, construction workers, and more. These are all absolute essential jobs that society depends on for its survival. Society would collapse in a matter of days if they all quit. And yet this society pays them complete dogshit wages and looks at them like they're worthless trash. Who does society worship and glorify? CEOs, influencers, athletes, and celebrities, who, let's just be honest, we'd all survive if they quit their jobs. You could make the case that this is just free market capitalism at work, but then don't complain that nobody wants to work anymore when you're paying dog shit wages and treating them like crap. Free market economics works both ways, and there's just not enough free market incentive for people to want to accept your dog shit wages and constantly being looked down upon. Society is digging its own grave by constantly looking down on and humiliating the very workers it depends on for its own survival. And if it ends up collapsing, then it absolutely deserves to. I've kind of already seen this happen on an individual level, with all my friends who got fancy degrees and high-status jobs. They spent their whole lives being pompous assholes, looking down on everyone who didn't achieve their level of success. From the waiters serving them at restaurants to the plumbers repairing their homes. Unfortunately for them, this economic downturn has spared no one, and a lot of them are now drowning in debt despite making over 6 figures a year. And because they spent their whole lives living lavish, luxurious lifestyles, when times were good, their ego can't handle it when times are bad, and they have to cut back. As a result, they accumulate more and more debt to keep up this facade that they're winning at life, according to society's terms. When you combine this with how unhealthy and out of shape most of them are because they sacrifice their health for work, the consequences of their actions are now catching up to them. And sometimes, I wonder if this is karma for how they treated everyone else. I'm not a person who enjoys watching others fail, but given how they looked down on other people, I can't say I feel sorry for them. This is probably the biggest hidden benefit I've discovered from being what society considers an unemployed loser. I value everyone's contribution. I'm not a pompous asshole who looks down on others. I'm not drowning in debt, and I've found my way to escape the matrix and live life on my own terms. Now, if you're watching this and you're interested in doing the same, I got great news for you. I recently made a video guide on how you can escape the 9-to-5 and live life on your own terms without being dependent on a job or even money. You can check it out right here. I'll see you there.